Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Gemini energy, and like usual we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Gemini, the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Gemini, because we all have free will and we have to make decisions in our life. And in our more high vibe nature of hope and faith and belief in ourselves and in love and in our dreams, we might want to live life or take certain action in our life. And some people are doing that, but some other people could still be influenced by their worldly shadowy nature, which can just be wanting to stay in our comfort zone and fear of moving forward in life differently. Because, we live our life a certain way. We'd have to look at life differently, our perception of ourselves and the world around us, heal, grow, mature, something. And we have people in our life, and maybe if we were to decide to live life differently, look at life differently, maybe we would quit hanging out with certain people or doing certain activities, change jobs, something. And some people could be struggling within themselves right now about doing life differently. And so we just have to accept that people are where they're at. We've all been there. And then we might know some people in the world, because people have free will. Some people free willingly reject their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. That isn't kind of what they think is important. And they could be more about themselves or the world or things they like to indulge in or money or materialism or ego or something, And we need to see the truth of that, because the whole thing is the truth sets us free. We all tap into Gemini energy. This might be something particular that is people in a Gemini sun sign or significant Gemini placements in their astrological chart might be dealing with. But we all have Gemini energy that we tap into, because Gemini has to do with our free will and making these decisions in our life and what our truth is. And we all kind of like to hang out with people who are kind of on the same page as us, have learned some of the same lessons as we have, our ideas of what we think are just and fair and how we treat people in relationships, and sometimes we're not on the same page, and we just have to get out of our ego to be willing to see the truth of it. So the reason for the top rose reading is the Queen of Pentacles, and I view that as Taurus energy. And in high vibe, when someone is holding the one pentacle, it means that they've learned some lesson. They've come into some insight, some understanding, they've healed something, right? They're not the same person they were before. And they could have been dealing with some people that maybe harness their Taurus energy, or their philosophy of life is still more on focusing on the past or repeating an old pattern. And the high vibe people in the Three of Wands, they have a dream and they want to invest time, energy, and effort to bring that dream into reality. And you can realize that your dreams are different. What I want to invest my time, energy, and effort into, the things that motivate and inspire me, can be different than what other people want to invest their time, energy, and effort into. And, are we willing? Some people don't have a desire to maybe harness more high vibrational fire sign energy, because it would require them to step outside their comfort zone, and they still like to repeat an old pattern. And we all repeat an old pattern until we learn the lesson we were meant to learn from it. And then we're kind of inspired to move forward in life differently. I'm going to take that lesson I learned, or how I healed, how I grew, how I matured, or I learned to love myself, to face my fears, to go pursue and believe in myself and believe in my dreams. And sometimes when we're ready to do that, some other people aren't ready to go do that. So even though there can be people in our life, maybe we were at a workplace and they weren't willing to take more inspired action or maybe dealing with some people who needed to heal or grow and mature themselves and they weren't willing to do that. Well, then I'm going to go take action to bring my dream into reality, because I've already kind of been here and done this before, maybe with other people, and been in this type of workplace or friendship or relationship. I don't want to repeat that old pattern. And there could be people that the Queen of Pentacles can represent, it's Taurus energy, so it represents all these different institutions of the world, workplaces, family dynamics, marriages, relationships, people we thought we wanted to date or marry, people we were dating or married to, people we viewed as emotionally nurturing, loving people, and they could have been, and we could have loved them. But kind of how we want to move forward, we have come to realize could be different. And so then we go from the Three of Wands down to the Two of Wands. I have to let go of taking action towards that. I might love people, I might be attracted to people, but our dreams are different. So I see that my dream can't come into reality. Maybe we harness our Aries energy differently. And Aries energy is about, in high vibe, it's about learning lessons in life. Learning to be a good leader in your own life. Willing to, when you're in a relationship with other people, that you take those people into consideration when you make decisions. And there's some people that are, I don't want to do that. And they could be more about themselves. They have their idea of how things should be. And, again, your truth is different. So, high vibe people deal with the truth of it. Okay, there was something I wanted to bring into reality, but in their Aries energy of what they want to invest in, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are, their truth is different than my truth in the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords can represent all three of the air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. What I think is just and fair, and the dreams that I have, and how I view life and how I view relationships, what I think is just and fair, high vibe people would be motivated to be more independent, to respect other people as their own individuals and independent, their own dreams, their own unique talent, skills, and interests, and wanting to be in relationships with people who appreciate them as being their own individual with their own unique dreams and interests, and kind of being more just and fair and balanced. Love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you want to be treated. But there are some people that are like, no, I turn my back to that because that's not their truth. I might be more caught up in myself or the world or the things I like to indulge in. I'm sure that'll make me happy. I don't have this dream of emotionally growing and maturing myself. I might not want to be in a more formal commitment. I might be unwilling to get out of my ego to see where I might need to heal or grow or mature myself, or I'd have to quit being more about myself. And everybody, has their idea of the dream life and how they view relationships and what they think is just and fair. And we kind of see that in their air sign energy, their Libra, Aquarius, Gemini energy is different than how you harness your Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, and your Taurus energy, and your Aries energy. Your philosophy of life is different. What drives and motivates you is different. What you think is just and fair is different. And again, some people could be, they want to be in a relationship, they want to be married, but it could be about, let's do this old pattern. Let's not be inspired to have hope and faith and belief in ourselves that we are more inspired in our hopeful, believing spirit of the Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles to be students of life. We don't have to do things like my parents did it or your parents did it or like other people in our life are doing it. High vibe people want to live their more authentic life. and not like follow some old template. Well, no, this is how people did it. This is how we're supposed to do it. And that's how some people live their life. And they're not inspired to go, like, believe in themselves enough to listen to their own creative, inspired, intuitive nature, to invest in what they love, to invest in their own dream. It's like, no, let's do what other people have done. I don't want to step outside my comfort zone. I'm not more bold and brave and creative. I kind of don't believe in myself or love myself, or, that's not my dream. I want to do what other people have done. And a more worldly, shadowy energy can be where you just make your life more about conforming to the world. Let's make our life about this. Let's get in a relationship. We'll look like we have these certain things. But it is, I don't know, just unwilling to listen, to be more independent, to live their more authentic life. And it can be more about conforming to the world or following some old template in a way. And other people are like, that's not my truth. We all grew up in families. The reason for the bottom rose reading is the Ten of Cups. We all grew up in families. How many people, when they were growing up and when they were children, said, boy, there's some things I might like about this, but there's some things I'm definitely not going to do or live or act or raise children that way, I have my own truth and I have my own ideas, and we all do. And then we take the good building blocks and things that are good building blocks to take with us, which the one pentacle in high vibe, when someone is holding it, is supposed to be built on truth and love and justice and fairness and treating other people the way you like to be treated, and having hope and faith and belief and in your dreams and acting with character and integrity. And that's why some people are inspired to go live their more authentic life. They're taking the most valuable traits and characteristics and building blocks with them, which is being a student of life, investing in love. Because the Queen of Cups, and again, the queens in tarot talk about how we think and feel. The masculine energies can represent how we present ourselves in the world and the action that we're taking in the world, because anybody can present themselves any way they want in the world. I'm a just and fair person. I'm stable and grounded. I'm nurturing. I'm loving. But are they really? So high vibe people, whether they're male or female, have learned to emotionally invest in themselves, because Aries energy is about the self. They've learned to be an emotionally nurturing, loving person to themselves. To not keep repeating some old pattern. To be inspired to live their more authentic truth. To get out of their more worldly, egoic nature and have that hopeful, believing spirit in their dreams, in truth and love. Willing to realize I don't know everything, and life is about learning lessons, and I am willing to learn those lessons. And when I get myself in situations where I might be being truthful and just and fair and loving and inspiring to people in my life, and that they show me by their actions and emotionally that really isn't their truth, I'm not going to stay in my ego and refuse to see the truth. I have a dream. Some of the people I wanted to have my dream come into reality with, that I wanted to have move forward with me in this way, that's not their truth. So I get out of my ego and I love myself and give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me, to keep believing in my dreams. And I don't give up on my dreams just because other people They're not on that same page. I wish them peace and love. Offering people peace and love is what frees you to go move forward in your life. And investing in being stable, grounded, walking the talk, in an energy of love, being inspired by truth and love, and listening to your intuition are all the building blocks that will help you continue to move forward. And you keep looking with the people that are in your life, that are moving forward with you in this way. You are an emotionally nurturing, stable, grounded, just, fair, walk the talk type of person with those people. And those people have that hopeful, believing spirit. And, the pages can represent that you're able to let your more authentic inner child out to play in the world because you're in an environment and working with people that are emotionally mature and have learned some of the same lessons in life as you do. They want to be in emotionally nurturing, just, fair, loving, encouraging, supportive relationships just like you do. So everybody is treating each other the way they like to be treated. And then they're in an environment where they can grow to their full potential. And they want each other to grow to their full potential. And as you keep moving forward in your life, being in that energy, offering truth and love to other people, it could help other people kind of wonder, why do I keep repeating this pattern? Why do I get more caught up in the world or being more about myself? And then I could get in relationships with people who are more about the world or more about themselves, or where I don't feel comfortable letting my more authentic nature out to play in the world because I don't really trust these people. Or why do I, we're either letting our more worldly egoic nature run our life or our more hopeful believing nature. And as you move forward in that energy, it could make other people wonder, why don't I do that? But some of them are like, no, I'm not going to do that. I have my dream. I have my philosophy of life, which is what Taurus energy can be. I'm sure this will be okay. And they're going to keep making their life, repeating this old pattern, or being more about themselves, or being more about the world. And some people don't want to do love. You have to get out of being more about yourself to be in an authentic, loving relationship with someone. And High Vibe Queen of Cups is about being in a deep, meaningful relationship. And it also talks about our deep emotional, we're emotionally complex human beings. And some people are like, yeah, that's not what I want to invest in. And I find my emotions confusing and I just don't want to do that. And so then in a more shadowy fire sign energy, it could be that some people are like, I'm going to have sex with someone. I'll have sex with someone where they maybe aren't interested in being in a more deep, meaningful relationship. They maybe don't let their more hopeful, believing inner child out to play. They might let their more worldly, egoic nature run their life. And I do too. And we might be more about the world or ego or indulgence or whatever it is. And I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone who's more like that. And some people will maybe never have that more hopeful, believing spirit, never really want to be in more deep, meaningful relationships because they'd have to invest in love. And right now, they might be defensive to investing in love. I'm still more motivated by these things of the world. That's what's most important to me. And other people have lived their life like that. Maybe the first 30, 40 years of our life, we are really pretty much caught up in making our life about these things of the world and kind of wanting to indulge ourselves in all these things because, we've been told by the world that if we do that, we'll be happy. And if we have those things, we'll be happy. And if we live our life like this, that's like living the dream, we'll be happy. Other people have already done that and realized that it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. And if they weren't really, they could have even been doing a lot of that because they were in more codependent energy, looking to people outside of them to validate their worth and value or love them. And what really sets us free is emotionally growing and maturing ourselves, loving ourselves so that we are like a good mother, father, coach voice to ourselves instead of being more codependent, looking for other people to play that role in our life. And when we play that role in our own life, then we've gotten ourselves out of more codependent energy, like when we were a child in a family, looking to other people to provide, make us feel more stable and grounded and loved. But we're not children anymore. And we want to be in relationships with other people. But if we're both staying in more codependent energy, it's kind of like, well, I'm looking to you to love me. Well, we should learn to love ourselves. And when we learn to love ourselves, and we're not operating from our more codependent, egoic nature, or defensive nature, or whatever, and we've done this work within ourselves to kind of free ourselves from our past pain and heartbreak and some of our fears and our insecurities, we're able to really more walk the talk in a relationship because it's not more about what I want. I'm kind of meeting my own needs emotionally. I know how to feel stable and grounded and balanced and loving within myself. And I want to work with other people who are in that energy. So together we are two independent people who work together. And where we overlap is where we work together on our common goal, but we respect each other as individuals, because shadowy energy, again, can be people operating more from, why are they getting in relationships? Maybe because of my fear or my insecurity or my lust or my greed or my codependency. And it's kind of a little bit more about thinking other people are going to be the answer to their problems, and other people aren't the answer to our problems. Other people can be loving and encouraging and supportive. But if we want to be that type of person, we need to do this work within ourselves. And some people aren't looking to ever do that work within themselves. That's not their idea of the dream life or the dream relationship. I want to be more about myself, and I'm looking for someone who's emotionally nurturing and loving to be in a relationship with. But then they're in more codependent energy. And then they can be trying to use their words and their emotions and their looks or their charm or their money or whatever they got to try to keep people to keep staying in a relationship with them, even though they know those people are being like authentic and just and fair and loving, and they kind of know they're not. Because you're either being authentic and in high vibe energy, treating other people the way you like to be treated, being just and fair, growing and maturing yourself, but they don't want to grow and mature themselves. In their air sign energy and their earth sign energy and their fire sign energy, I don't really invest in my more emotionally intuitive, loving nature. I use my emotions to get people to get in a relationship with me, but that can be something they don't really value much, is thinking their more emotionally intuitive nature and their loving nature is that valuable, because emotionally they're more invested and inspired to live more from their mind and their heart and make their life more about themselves or the world. And part of their dream is to just get in a relationship with someone who's very emotionally loving and nurturing. But that's not what they want to invest in. Because in order to do that, they'd have to quit being more about themselves. They'd have to quit being more thinking themselves or these things of the world is the most important thing. And they'd have to be illuminated to the truth that love is what makes it all worthwhile. It's kind of like getting a job that you don't like, but it pays well. Oh, I'm going to stay in it. Well, that's drudgery. You know, other people have probably done that and it's like, oh my God. Or the people I'm working with, I've got to go find people who are more balanced, because high vibe energy is about being more balanced, just and fair. I need to go find people who are more emotionally mature and insightful and wise, and I'm not going to keep working at a place just because of or stay in a relationship more because of the image or the status or just to be in it. I will go look for a new job, a new friend, a new relationship. But some other people, you know, in order to, for one, they'd have to get out of their ego to even be willing to admit they have lessons learned. And some people are like, no, I look like my dreams are going to come into reality. I think I have these certain traits, qualities, or characteristics. I think everything will work out for me the way I want. I don't have to learn to love myself. That is not my job. If I have invested in these things where I look like my dreams are coming into reality, by worldly standards, I look like a certain type of person. Taurus energy can be, I have a certain status or image in the world. I'm attractive. Again, I'm charming. I have social clout. I've got money. You know, I think if I have those things, I think there's other people that would be willing to invest in me because they have mental conflict about loving and believing in themselves that they can manifest their dreams into reality. And since I, in a more shadowy Taurus, Aries, air sign energy, have these things, I think there's people who will choose me versus choosing people who are more motivated and inspired by love. And some people were, and you could have been in relationships with some people who, instead of continuing to move forward with you, maybe they were afraid that they wouldn't have the status or the image or the money or the stability or security and didn't love and believe in themselves, or love really isn't what drives and motivates them. What's most important is these things of the world. And they haven't been maybe illuminated to the truth. And so they're going to repeat an old pattern. And I think life is about learning in our free will that love is what makes it all worthwhile. But love is supposed to be just and fair. And we are supposed to learn lessons in life and grow and mature ourselves and kind of grow ourselves to our full potential. We have to get out of our ego, thinking we're the boss. There are lessons, there are kind of rules to this game of life. And you have to be willing to learn lessons and get out of your ego. Quit trying to control people. Quit trying to manipulate people. Quit being more manipulated by your more worldly, immature, indulgent, codependent energy. You can do that. And by worldly standards, you could look like you have justice in the world, that you have all these things that people want in the world. But did you grow to your full potential? Did you invest in love? Did you invest, and are you in relationships with people who are truthful and honest and just and fair? If you're someone who's being authentic and loving and treating people the way you like to be treated, justice would be for you to be in relationships with other people who are like that. Are you in relationships with people who are like that? Some people right now could be kind of struggling with what is their truth. Is it more about looking like a shining star in the world and having a certain status and image, or kind of being indulged in a relationship? Is that like what I think would make me happy? Or would it be loving and believing in myself, really feeling like I walk the talk, I have Taurus energy. I am actually taking action based on the truth of who I am. And if my truth is love, then I want to act and take action in truth and love. And I could have been taking action where I could have been a loving, supportive, encouraging person to other people, but that's not the energy they're in. Do I love and believe in myself to stand up for myself and what I believe in? And the people who work through that mental conflict invested in loving themselves, and it can be difficult because we look to these other people in our life to love us. Well, are we going to keep trying to get other people to love us even when they've maybe shown that they're not willing to invest in love, but we love them? Well, some people like to use the love that you have for them to try to manipulate you. But they don't ever plan to act with more character and integrity or be more loving or more authentic. But if you love them and you're willing to indulge them in their more immature behavior, that works for them. This is a good gig. And eventually high vibe people are like, I can love people and not be in a relationship with them. If I think they're being immature, if I think they're emotionally repeating some poor past patterns, if they want me to be in more codependent energy, the reason I could have been drawn and attracted to them is because I thought we were on the same page. But then as the relationship went by, I realized they don't really want me to... They want me to kind of stay in more codependent energy. And they don't really want me to invest in my own unique talent, skills, interests, and my dream. They like to present themselves as a loving person, but they like me to view them as a loving person. So in a lot of ways, they can be very loving, but they want me to stay in this energy, and they kind of don't want me to be more self-sufficient and less codependent, where I love myself and I'm kind of growing and maturing myself. Well, then I don't want to be in a relationship with you. You can go. I'll go find someone else who's in more codependent energy. You know, at the big picture, it's like in a world of duality with free will, we're either in high vibe energy, life-giving energy represented by God, where we want people to grow and heal and mature themselves, and we are willing to heal and grow and mature ourselves with them. But some people like to play that role in people's life, and then it's kind of like they want to be God in your life. Codependent on them. Don't love and believe in yourself. Don't listen to your own intuition. Don't have your own dreams. You should have let go of those and made your life more about me. Or these things that I want to make my life about, and you should make your life about those things too. You're not your own individual. That's my idea of love and how I want to live my life and my idea of the dream relationship. But eventually you got to where, you know, it could have been a loving and encouraging and supportive environment, but you do have your own dreams, and you do have your own unique talent, skills, and interests. And then you wanted to move forward in the relationship where we both work through some of our fears, our insecurities, our pride, our ego, being more about ourselves. And we both invest more in really walking the talk. And they're like, oh no, I have a problem with that. I like to view myself as this type of person in the world, but I have this way of being and this way of viewing relationships where that would require me to step out of my comfort zone. That would require me to deal with some truth that I have a problem with. And so then I'm unwilling to move forward in that way. And, you know, some people are very inspiring, can be, you know, you can have a great relationship with them for a long time, and you wanted to be in a relationship with them long term. But they only can like being in the relationship so long as it is kind of a little bit more about them and you being more codependent on them and looking to them. But it's like, I could have gotten in a relationship with you and I could have been more codependent, and I maybe hadn't learned to love myself. And I appreciate everything that you've done for me, but now can't we all move forward where it's not like I need you to play that mother role in my life? Can't we have a relationship where, I don't know how to describe it, just that I can have my dreams and you have your dreams, and I'm more stable and grounded within myself. Maybe already were more stable and grounded within yourself when I came into the picture. But can't we both move forward now in that energy? And then they don't like that. And it's like, no, I like to be that person in people's lives. And when other people are in that energy, it does challenge me to deal with why don't I move forward with people who are kind of on the same page as them, but some people like to be in relationships with people like, I will help you, blah, blah, blah. But then I want you to keep, I don't know, doing the relationship this old way. I don't ever want you to step out of my comfort zone where I would have to deal with my own fears and insecurities of learning lessons in life and moving forward in life differently. So we have, the Page of Pentacles can represent all the earth sign energies of Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. I view the Queen of Cups as Scorpio energy. Scorpio and Taurus are fixed sign energy, which it can be hard to transition out of a way of living life and viewing life. And we all can have a hard time moving from one phase of life, of how we viewed life, to grow and heal and mature ourselves. It does take investing time, energy, and effort. And some people don't want to invest that time, energy, and effort to figure out, why don't I take the lessons that I've learned to move forward in life differently. And for now, some of those people are just happy living their life, but they also might be people who might be a little more motivated by ego and kind of like to be indulged a little bit in a relationship, and more motivated in the world to live their life like that, where they don't want the world can talk about learning lessons. It's like, nope, I just want to keep moving forward, indulging myself in the world. This is how I view life. This is how I want to keep moving forward in life. This is what I find emotionally fulfilling, and defensive to listening to their intuition, to have that more hopeful, believing nature in their fire sign energy, inspired by love and equal give and take. I like to play this role in people's life, and then I want them to not ever require me to kind of see how I kind of like to play this role in people's life. It makes me feel like I'm this loving, nurturing, supportive person in people's lives. But then I don't want to deal with any of my own issues to be in relationships with people who kind of challenge me to grow and heal and mature myself. That's not my idea of the dream life. And, I realized this after I started doing tarot, how, people can be, like you can be, I can be a loving, nurturing person. But sometimes, we're kind of more drawn, for one reason, we could be drawn and attracted to people who aren't maybe on that same page, and part of that, we meet them, we like them, we are attracted to them, we love them, but we're not really, and it can be about, down here in the bottom row, the story ends with the Five of Swords, trying to change other people. So you can see where that can be a little bit in our ego. And I can't change other people. I can offer people love and encouragement, and I can provide a supportive, encouraging environment, just like people can do that for me. But I have to be willing to work through my own fears and insecurities about loving and believing in myself, healing from past pain and heartbreak, to have hope and faith and belief in myself and view life differently. And that's hard, you know. If any of you were in relationships with people where it did challenge you, we have the Hierophant, the Chariot, the Hermit, and the Five of Swords, where we're in jobs, friendships, relationships that challenge us to get more emotionally balanced within ourselves and to love ourselves. Because the Chariot is Cancer energy and it is about being more emotionally balanced. And then to do some of that inner work within ourselves about some things we maybe haven't healed from. And when you do that work within yourself, some of you did do that work because you were in situations where you maybe wanted, though, you could have known that if you kept acting in a more immature way, stubborn way, whatever, that if you were in relationships with some people who are more emotionally mature or stable and grounded than you were, that they would have a problem continuing to invest in yourselves, invest in you. So then you kind of did that work within yourself, and you could have thought these people are going to be happy. And for some of the things that you healed and grew and matured yourself from, they were happy. But there's a point where you need to stop. If you're starting more to listen to your intuition and be more inspired from a foundation of love to really be someone who kind of more walks the talk and feel more stable and grounded within yourself, and then you're wanting to be in relationships with people who are like that, and they're kind of, some people came into our life to play that role in our life, and those people will go play that role in someone else's life, but they within themselves, it's kind of like being a person who gets in a relationship with, oh, look at this person. This person might be more codependent. This person might have some mental conflict. This person could have been in a relationship, but then it didn't move forward the way they thought. And now, they're out here in the world and they got this mental conflict. Well, truly authentic people are offering those people love for those people to grow and heal and mature themselves, and they are willing to learn lessons with them and move forward with them. Other people who seem like that, you get in a relationship with them, you think they're on the same page as you, but as you do this work within yourself to heal and grow and mature, then they become defensive because now you've kind of went outside their comfort zone. The moon can be like the sun can be, let's stay where we know how everything is and let's move forward in this victoriously. I could have helped you heal and grow and mature yourself and feel more stable and grounded. That's perfect. Now, stop there. Let's make our life, this is good, I'm good, we look victorious and successful, we look like we have these things of the world, we look like shining stars, I look like a shining star, you healed and grew and matured yourself, and maybe to some ways I did too. But let's stop there. Let's not go any further. I do not want to move forward into unknown territory. I like to stay where I know how this works. If we were to move forward into unknown territory, then I would have to harness my fire sign energy differently. Instead of being more motivated to repeat an old pattern and make my life more about the world or repeating this old pattern, I'd have to have that hopeful, believing spirit in my fire sign energy of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius to be more inspired by love. To detach from that old foundation is what the Six of Pentacles can talk about. Exchanging one foundation for another foundation. Instead of operating from my more worldly egoic nature, I really would have to emotionally invest in loving and believing in myself and operate more from a foundation of love. And I have mental conflict about that. And then they have their own philosophy of life of how they expected things to move forward. And some people hide that it is kind of a little, they're either more motivated by the world, a little more motivated by themselves. Like, I wanted you to heal and grow and mature yourself because then I kind of look like a shining star, but I didn't think you were ever going to be more bold and brave and confident to like step out of this comfort zone, because I'm not bold and brave enough to step out of this comfort zone. And that's when sometimes some people's shadowy energy can come out, and they can like be bossy and controlling of you, because now that you've healed and grown and matured yourself, and it challenges them to heal and grow and mature themselves, or look at how they view themselves. And of course, they like to view themselves as this loving, nurturing, supportive person, but they're kind of more driven by the world instead of being more motivated and inspired by love, or to get out of their ego to admit that maybe they have some lessons to learn in life. And then they can kind of be more bossy and controlling and turn their back on you and try to cause you all this mental conflict so that you'll kind of give up your dream, even though you are now inspired to kind of move forward in life differently. It's like, well, I didn't expect you to look at life from that perspective. I thought I just wanted you to get to where this worked. It's kind of like, too, if you had a job and you did learn things at your job, and now you have these skills or talents or whatever at your job, but then the people that you're in a relationship at work with, they kind of they're not willing to let you kind of be on the same level as them and give you some of the same responsibilities where you have the potential, and they might not like it because you're really walking the talk, and they kind of stunted their growth in a way. They might have gotten to a certain point, but then they kind of have fear of taking on more responsibility or learning more things. Well, then they don't want you to have that opportunity to be on a more equal level with them. And then they kind of want you to go because they don't want to see the truth that, it's one thing to be nurturing and loving and supportive and encouraging to people, but when you get to where you're on the same level as me, that kind of challenges me to work with you differently. Because if someone's in more codependent energy, it's kind of like an equally imbalanced relationship, but they are like the parent and you're like the child, or they're the boss and you're like the employee, or they're the supervisor and you are the subordinate. And when it gets to be where people heal and grow and mature themselves, well, then it's to be a more equal give and take. And some people are like, no, I like a more imbalanced relationship where it's more tipped in favor of being about me, or me being the boss, me seeming like the person who, I don't know, has these certain traits or qualities or characteristics anyway. Some people are more worldly focused, ego focused, Taurus and Cancer energy and Virgo energy and Aquarius energy that people can harness in a shadowy way. I am more about getting in a relationship and staying in a relationship if it makes me look like my dreams are coming into reality, like I have all these things going on, or I have someone indulging me, or we have status or image. It looks like love, but I might be hiding. I might have mental conflict because maybe it's not really love, but I'm willing to sacrifice investing in love in order to have these things, because this certain status or image or money or what I want to indulge in, and if they're willing to indulge in those things with me, that's more important to me than love. And everybody makes that free will decision within themselves. And other people were like, I had hope and faith and belief in love. I thought we were all motivated and inspired by that. And some people in our life, we realize we're in a more mismatched relationship, or they could have wanted to move forward in the relationship, but they could have some inner conflict about being more authentic or getting out of their ego or being more independent could be defensive to harnessing their fire sign energy in a more high vibrational way. Again, to trust love, to not try to control things, getting out of a more mismatched or codependent type relationship to where you really do have to walk the talk. And some people are like, I'm kind of used to creating a facade of love, but I don't really emotionally invest in love because I have fear of really emotionally investing myself in love because I get hurt doing love. So I kind of settle more for the illusion of love, or I make my life about these other things. And other people were in those type of situations and they weren't willing to give up love, even though they could have love for these people. It's kind of like my dream can only come into reality with other people who are motivated and inspired to invest in a relationship from truth and love and justice and fairness, instead of more about ego or indulgence or money or materialism. If that's the driving factor in your life, then yeah, you would prefer to be in a relationship with someone else. I would prefer to be in a relationship with someone else. And I'm going to go out in the world and find the people and the people in my life who do work together with me in that energy. Those are the people I'm going to work with. And some of the people who were more about the ego or the image or the status, they could have a lot of mental conflict because they know there was like loving people who walked the talk that they could have been in a relationship with, but because they had mental conflict about, I don't know, wanting something to do with this shadowy energy where it's more about them, more about ego and image, or where they'd have to heal. And because of that mental conflict, they made a free will choice to not move forward with those people. And I think so long as people are making decisions in their life more out of creating an illusion, not really walking the talk, operating more from their ego nature, thinking they'll be happy, I think life is about learning that when we learn lessons going down either path. But if we're kind of planting bad seeds, we're not going to reap a good harvest. And it probably won't turn out the way they think, and they're going to feel betrayed because they were under this illusion that they could be more immature in a way in a relationship. I don't really have to do love, or I can be kind of bossy or controlling or prideful or egotistical, or try to control people. I'll play that role in their life, but so long as I don't have to grow or heal or deal with my issues, I'm sure then that will make me happy. But, the same thing is we all come into each other's lives because we have valuable lessons learned from each other to get more clear about what our truth is. Sometimes loving people who authentically were loving, did want people to grow and heal and mature themselves, they come into people who might be a little more worldly or shadowy. And if those people knew they were not willing to grow and heal and mature themselves, they're kind of hiding that they were more immature and emotionally manipulative and maybe stubborn and prideful. And they're always going to have that mental conflict with them. And it also, if they didn't know if they would be willing to more invest in love, they found out they weren't. And so then it kind of causes a mental conflict because they like to think of themselves as being that type of person. But when they had the opportunity to do that work within themselves, then it causes a mental conflict because they know they weren't willing to, but yet they still like, it's kind of cognitive dissonance. I like to believe that I'm this certain type of person, but when it came, the rubber met the road, and they had the chance to really walk the talk, they didn't do it. And they know that, even though they might like to try to stay in denial of it, they'll keep repeating this pattern, thinking it will make them happy. But if they're trying to manipulate more hopeful, believing people, but then try to stifle and restrict them, which shadow energy, the big picture is the devil, is things that try to limit us and restrict us and confine us and imprison us. And for some reason, some of these people think that's just and fair. Well, no, like if I play this role in my life, or your life, you're supposed to keep staying codependent on me. You're not supposed to ever get to where you really love and believe in yourself, and then you want me to grow and heal and mature myself too. No. Wasn't my plan. It's like, well, the flow of life is that people do grow, heal, and mature themselves, and they do want to move forward in life differently. But some of these people, they're a little bit more about what they want. Well, if you're going to get in relationships with other people, they have their own dreams. And it's to work together cooperatively and be loving and encouraging and face your fears together. But some people either have a lot of fear of doing things differently, and that wasn't their plan and that wasn't their idea, but that can be people living more from their mind than their heart, having a strategy and a plan. This is how I want it to go. It's like, well, you're not the boss, and you're not the boss of other people, and other people are going to listen to their intuition, and if they feel that you have an agenda, and it's not really going with the flow in the energy of hope and faith and belief and love, eventually some of those people are probably going to get out of a relationship with you. And then they can be upset, but they're unwilling to deal with whatever it is about maybe being more authentic and hopeful and believing in love and getting out of their ego and strategizing and, and they don't have to. If they have a dream, they just need to try to find someone who's more on the same page as them. And if they find someone who's more on the same page as them, aren't we all looking for people who are more on the same page as us? I just think the people who are authentically getting in relationships with people, wanting and willing to look at life from other people's perspective, realizing it's not all about me, that if I'm going to be in relationships with people and I love them and they love me, it's kind of going on this journey together. And at different times, we all might be kind of required to step into unknown territory, try new things, go do different things and repeating some of the same old patterns. And we go on that journey together because we love each other. But some people, it really is kind of more maybe about what they want. So let's go see what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Gemini energy. Well, for definite, what you're doing is you've seen the truth that some people this isn't their truth. So you're willing to be a student of life, get out of your ego, deal with the truth, move on, become independent, close out a cycle with people who are defensive. And you're listening to your intuition from love, maintaining balance within yourself, walking the talk, taking action out of love and acting with character and integrity to invest your time, energy, and effort into people in the world who you think are more on that same page and getting to know people. And there's other people in the world that have already gone through that type of situation. They've already moved on ahead of you, and some of those people have been waiting for someone like you to come up the road who's learned some of those same lessons just like they have. What's coming up for the high vibe people that they don't see coming? The Six of Cups. Why? Because of the Emperor. So, initially what that can mean is, as the Emperor is also Aries energy, and the Emperor can be about having learned these lessons in all four suits of the deck. Here, down here, we have the four suits. We have Earth sign, water. Oh, wait, this is Earth sign 2. This is air. The one we were missing was fire. But we thought we would be happy harnessing our fire sign energy, being more motivated and inspired by the world and the things of the world. And we made our life about those things. We thought it was going to be victorious and successful, and it didn't. We were confused. This is what people said would make me happy, or if I lived my life like this, or I made my life about this, or invested in these things. And we kind of could have realized that we weren't really operating from a foundation of love within ourselves and to be more balanced. And we were tipped more out of balance, where it's like, yes, I want these things of the world, but I also love and believe in myself. And maybe we hadn't invested in that before to feel more stable and grounded within ourselves. And we got to go on all these lessons in life to just help us get clear about our truth. And then we did get clear about our truth. And we were willing to invest in giving ourselves the things we wished other people would have given us. So then, in the Emperor energy, I have learned lessons letting my heart run my life, my mind, my worldly nature, my passionate nature. And the thing is, all four are equally important. And if I disregard one, and I'm not inspired to be more stable and grounded and loving within myself, even though I can be a loving person to others, I'm still getting in more imbalanced relationships. And the Six of Cups, you are inspired to get balance within yourself, because the Six of Cups to talk about being balanced. And it frees you from this old way of living life and viewing life. And as you move forward in that energy, in balance between your emotional nature, your worldly nature, less inspired by the things of the world as your truth, it's more about, if it isn't based on truth and love and acting with character and integrity, why would I be in it? You know? And I think you go out and enjoy the world, but you don't give the things of the world that much significance in your life, like they're the answer to all my problems, or what I eat, or what I drink, or whatever. You have learned this within yourself to love yourself, so now you can go out in the world and enjoy the world. The world was created for us to enjoy, but I don't give those things of the world that much power in my life, because the devil is about all those things of the world that want to get us in a stranglehold. And I don't want to be in relationships with people because of my mental conflict or fear about if my dreams will come into reality, or because I want to love and nurture someone, or I want someone to love and nurture me. I am going to keep walking the talk until I find the people who seem to be more on the same page as me, and I'm not going to try to change people anymore. I am looking for people who are on the same page as me. And I think as you move forward in that energy, other people in the world who are in that energy, who are looking for someone who's on the same page as them, will want to be in a relationship with people who are making good decisions in their life, who aren't making decisions out of fear and insecurity and codependency and immaturity and indulgence. People who act with character and integrity is who they are looking for. That's what you are looking for. And some of the people who would like to be in a relationship with you feel like that would be a great relationship to be in, but they still operate more from their pride and ego, try to manipulate people to, like, not communicating with you, not investing in you, hoping you'll give up on your dreams and come make it more about them. And you're like, if I already spoke my truth in love, then I'm moving on. And I reconcile myself to the fact that apparently we're not on the same page, but I'm done with people who aren't willing to be authentic and honest, who try to manipulate me to get me to do the relationship the way they want. And I'm looking for people who are more authentic and honest. And I think, you'll be working with people, whether that the Queen of Pentacles can represent all these institutions of the world, workplaces, friendships, community, family. You're going to invest your time, energy, and effort into people who walk the talk, and that you can have a meaningful relationship with and let your inner child out to play, because they've also learned those lessons, and they're a good friend, and they're a good leader in the world. And then other people want to be in a relationship with you because you also are in that energy. The people who are repeating an old pattern still have some mental conflict they haven't dealt with. And because of that, they might think they'll be happy, and they might take action more out of pride or ego or codependency or indulgence. And what they don't see coming is the Six of Swords. Why? Because of the Star card. More shadowy people can always have more high vibrational people in their life who are trying to get them out of the Five of Swords, to get in the Six of Swords, to move away, to see the truth and deal with the truth of things that cause them mental conflict, or being kind of stubborn, being more about themselves, being more driven by ego and image, and to do love, to really bring the dream into reality. And eventually, the people in their life see the truth. If you were motivated to move forward in that type of relationship, you would. And I keep trying to offer you love and encouragement for you to do that, but you keep not wanting to do that. And eventually, the high vibe people in their life who want to be in a relationship with someone, but only if they've kind of worked through these issues that manipulate them. And eventually some of the high vibe people see the truth that they're not willing to move forward in that way. That is not their idea of the dream life. And they accept the truth, they heal, and they love themselves and give themselves what they wish those people would have given them, to come to a place of peace. They learn the lesson they were meant to learn from it. I can't change other people. They have to want to change themselves and be motivated to do that. And some people aren't. Some people always want to hide from the truth. Don't want to see the truth about themselves and what manipulates them within themselves. Don't want to see the truth about how the world manipulates them or other people in their life manipulate them. And until they are willing to deal with the truth of it, they're not going to be a more authentic, inspiring, independent person in the world. They're going, maybe some past pain and heartbreak of feeling betrayed. And until they work through that, other people are going to move on. And so they might not see. We have two cards of Aquarius energy. They might have people who harness more high vibrational Aquarius energy that have looked at life from a higher perspective, did put things in perspective, were able to offer peace and love to the past, to accept that people were where they were at and they weren't on the same page, so they were able to move forward and move on. And some people still are trying to change other people or have past pain and heartbreak, and then they can be drawn and attracted to people who have those same similar traits and characteristics, trying to get those people to change because they're kind of still in their ego, maybe from people in their life growing up who they wanted to have love them. And those people kind of had mental conflict with it. So since it's an unresolved issue kind of buried in their subconscious from when they were a child, they'll be drawn and attracted to those type of people. People they're trying to change. And they haven't seen the truth that the only person they can change is them. Quit trying to change other people. If you have loving, encouraging, supportive people in your life, why aren't you healing from your past pain and heartbreak to move forward with those people? But they don't think that's the answer. If I can get those people to change, or I can get those people to love me, that's the answer. And sometimes we kind of get in a relationship that, other things didn't work out. We had mental conflict. But then some of the people we are moving forward with want us to keep moving forward with them. And it's like, I really don't think my dream is your dream, and I think you're a loving, encouraging person, but I might do it more for a reason other than love. I could have love for you. I could wish you the best, but I just think what drives and motivates you and inspires you is kind of different than what drives and motivates me and inspires me, and what I find emotionally fulfilling, vice versa. And then we have to be willing to tell our truth to people that, sorry, I don't really think this is my dream. Somewhere along the way, maybe I got caught up in things, and and you need to get to know people. And some people, we part ways from people and we wish them the best. Sometimes we part ways with some people because we're kind of on different pages. We have different lessons to learn. And then the Six of Cups can mean that with some of the people we reunite with, because we all went on our own separate journeys and we all had our own lessons to learn. And then, we can come back in relationship with certain people. It just depends on what lessons we've learned in life, and if we're willing to get out of our ego that at one point in time, people, we kind of went separate ways. And if people are willing to get out of their ego about that, high vibe energy, willing to humble yourself to admit that I had lessons to learn. And if you're willing to do that, then people get on the same page. And then some other people in your life who weren't willing to humble themselves, who kind of wanted to win at all costs, who maybe were being manipulative and controlling, could be upset because other people were willing to humble themselves and do love. You weren't willing to stay in shadowy energy. You did this work within yourself to heal and grow and mature yourself, and they're not willing to do that, and it still causes them mental conflict. And high vibe people are moving forward. They've learned lessons in life. They didn't try. They realized they weren't the boss. When they saw things weren't going in alignment with their truth, they loved and believed in themselves to keep walking the talk, and they weren't willing to give up their dreams. Other people, things didn't go the way they wanted. Still not willing maybe to love and believe in themselves, to heal. And so they're going to keep repeating an old pattern. By worldly standards, it might look victorious and successful, but some people are immature and manipulative, just want to be in a relationship for the status, the ego, and the image, hiding. They have mental conflict about it because they know that they're manipulating people and creating an illusion, because they are more driven by money and materialism or ego, that they had an opportunity to heal and grow and mature themselves, but they chose not to, so they're just going to keep moving forward with the illusion of how wonderful their life is. And other people made peace with things like that, and they're moving on with people who've learned some of the same lessons they've learned and willing to learn more lessons with them. So there you go, Gemini. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.